Hey, friends, it's Mark from the Where to Gays Retire podcast. I want to tell you that I built something close to my heart, LGBTQseniors.com. It's a free, welcoming online community for LGBTQ seniors. We've got forums, private messaging, real conversations, and monthly Zoom meetups where members from around the world connect, laugh, and feel a little less alone. No algorithms, no noise, just real people, real talk, and real community, all completely free. If you've ever thought, I wish there were a space like this, well, now there is. And if you enjoy what I bring to the table, I hope you'll find it in your heart to buy me a coffee or even a few to help keep this community going strong. So please visit lgbtqseniors.com today because connection matters and pride doesn't retire. Thank you.
Welcome to the Where Do Gays Retire podcast, where we help you in the LGBTQ plus community find a safe and affordable retirement place. Join Mark Goldstein as he interviews others who live in gay-friendly places around the globe. Learn about the climate, cost of living, healthcare, crime and safety, and more. Now, here's your host, Mark Goldstein.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to retire in Oaxaca, Mexico? Well, find out today and stay till the end. Today we have our guests, David Shallenberger and Harvey Nystrom. And I'm thrilled to welcome them as a couple who mastered the art of intentional living and done it together for 35 years. David and Harvey now call Oaxaca, Mexico home after nearly 4 years in Cuenca, Ecuador. Roll the tape back about a decade and you'll find them in Brasilia, Brazil. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Harvey working there while David retired. What drew them to these places? A deep connection to Latin America. They adopted their son from Guatemala, and David lived in Peru as a child. Brasilia's modernist vibe and Brazil's culture, food, and music hooked them. Cuenca came highly recommended within their circles. The Andean setting won David over, and Ecuador's beauty, history, and geography sealed the deal. They chose Oaxaca for the community of friends already here and because it's closer to their son. Professionally, Harvey has worn a few hats: high school science teacher, social worker, and systems analyst. David's career spans university professorship and international education consulting. On LGBTQ plus retirement, David and Harvey are passionate about community, building it, sustaining it, living it, and governmental acceptance that shows up in real life, like married spouse visas, even when the broader environment can be fairly conservative. David and Harvey, welcome to the Where Do Gays Retire podcast. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for inviting us, Mark.
Happy to be here.
Of course. So, gentlemen, as an opening, for listeners new to Oaxaca, Mexico, give us your 60-second why here, why now story.
Oaxaca is a city of about 500,000 people, so it's got a lot of things to offer, but it's not crazy busy urban at the same time. It's about an hour's flight south of Mexico City in a beautiful setting surrounded by mountains, the various sierras, they call them around here.
Perfect. So what neighborhoods do you call home, and what tipped the scales for your choices?
When we have lived in 3 different neighborhoods in Oaxaca. One is called La Cascada, which is a very residential neighborhood, quiet, beautiful, on a small creek. The second was right downtown, what they call Centro, and very urban, very busy, but access to everything. Now we're a bit of a compromise. We're about 10 or 15 minutes walk outside of downtown, near the largest cemetery, which provides its own sort of interest. And we like it here. It's a very Mexican neighborhood.
Okay, so it's more residential there?
There are stores around within not too big a distance, but they're smaller stores. It's neighborhood stores mostly.
Right.
There's
Farther from.
several nice markets nearby where you can get all sorts of fresh fruit and produce. They serve food. And so it makes it very livable. It's very easy access. With David's Fall, it's easier for me to get food and prepare food if we need to, given where we live.
So everything is pretty much walkable still.
Right.
Okay. So what surprised you most, the first impressions versus reality after settling in? What actually surprised you the most? Can you think about that?
In Oaxaca itself,
Yes.
for me, it's a very vibrant town. Lots of music, lots of energy. We're entering right now into Day of the Dead season. So there are pictures of skulls and flowers, marigolds everywhere. It's got a lot of energy. And I think that surprised me most.
It's also got a lot of artistic culture too, with rugs, these little colorful statues called alebrijes. Mezcal is a big sort of artisanal, product of the area. It's got a lot of culture that goes back pre-Columbian to the Zapotec and Mixtec Indians. There's still groups that live here, and there's some wonderful old sites. So it's got a vibrancy and a very, that's really stimulating.
Gotcha. So where exactly can you picture? I'm picturing the map of Mexico. Where is Oaxaca located geographically?
Oaxaca is considered sort of southwestern Mexico. It is 7 hours by bus south of Mexico City towards Guatemala, towards Chiapas and Guatemala. And the city itself is in the mountains, but the state extends to the beach, to the Pacific coast.
Okay.
So I like to compare it to high heel shoe. Mexico has this sort of vague sense. Well, at the very end of the stiletto tip is where Oaxaca is. If you want to locate it.
So if you were to fly, it's an hour, right?
Right.
To Mexico City. 7 hours is a big trip. Is there another big city nearby?
No other big cities. We're the largest city nearby. We are south of Veracruz State, and we're south of Puebla. That's probably the largest city near us.
Yep.
That's between Mexico City and us. That's about 4 or 5 hours away.
Got it. How about the terrain, like where you walk? Is it cobblestone streets? Is it hilly? Is it flat? Give us a little picture of what walking is like.
Sort of all of the above. We live about a 5-minute walk from a place called the Barrio de Jalaco, which is one of the magical neighborhoods they call the magical neighborhoods or magical towns in Mexico. And it's all cobblestone streets, which are beautiful but very hard to walk on. Are in a very, as I said before, we're near the main cemetery, and there's lots of beautiful trees and brick walkways there. But they're also city streets, and some of them easier to walk on than others because of the various potholes and things like that. But it's all part of the environment.
And how long have you been living in Oaxaca?
4 years.
A little over 4 years.
Okay, and before that was Ecuador. Okay. All right. So what's the climate like? Give us a feel of what the average winter days are like versus the average summer days.
Okay. It's in a rather dry valley, the Valley of Oaxaca. So the environment outside of the city is arid with cactus and scrub trees, and inside the Inside the city, again, is mostly paved with either cobblestone or brick.
And the temperatures and things.
The temperature, the hottest part of the year is May, April, May, surprisingly.
In Fahrenheit, give me a.
Get up to close to 90.
Oh, okay, so it does get very warm in
Very
the summer.
warm.
But you said it's arid, it's dry?
It's dry. So you have to, in terms of your own health care, you have to use a little bit of creams and drink plenty of water to stay hydrated.
How about the winter?
July, August, September is a rainy season, so it's pretty rainy. It's very pleasant around December, Christmas time, and then it slowly gets warmer again up until May.
Give me a like a coldest it ever gets in the winter.
50.
Oh, okay. I could deal with that. Definitely deal with that. It even gets a little colder than 50 here in Phoenix, and that's kind of unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you noticed any climate change effects since you've been there? Has it gotten hotter or colder or rainier?
Water is a big issue here.
Well, lack of it.
Lack of it. I mean, water is delivered in large containers, 20-liter containers called garrafons.
To drink, that's drinking water.
And that's drinking water. And then there's a big container on the roof of most of the buildings which contain the city water. Occasionally people have run out of water.
Wow.
During the week. And so you have to arrange for a delivery truck. And sometimes that can take a day or two to get there. And so there's some concern about how viable water supply is.
So do they allocate or you a certain amount of water? Or
the city delivers water on a schedule which in the rainy season is fairly frequent and in the dry season can be weeks apart.
Wow, sporadic.
And people who've lived here for longer than we have said that the water is becoming more and more of an issue. So you asked about climate change. Although this rainy season, we had much more rain than we did a year or two, or since we've been here. It's been a very wet, rainy season. The problem is that Oaxaca doesn't have a good system for collecting water and then distributing it during the dry season. There are some dams and such around the city, but it's not a very well-planned system yet.
Okay. So, as far as that, so water is a concern. Good to know. Very good to know. Do you have air conditioners or fans?
We have fans. There are some people we know who have air conditioners, but that those times when it gets up to 90 degrees it's only a few days. And so we have fans.
Yeah, we don't use them that often.
So that's because it's probably dry and not humid.
Right.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about walkability, because I'm all about walkability. I love a place where you can walk to everything, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, all your daily errands, your bank, your doctor, your hospital. Is your hospital nearby? Tell us a little bit about that. What can you get to by foot?
We are, as I think I mentioned before, about 10 or 15 minutes outside of the main part of the city. We can walk everywhere to, as you say, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. We have within a few blocks, we have the public market, and we have other things where we can get things that we need. But if I were to go to an ATM, for example, it's a little bit further, but still easily walkable. Many of our physicians are within 15, 20-minute walk. So it's a lot of where we go. I mean, it depends on how much you like to walk too. Since I've had my back problem, I can't walk as much as I used to. But like this morning, I had a medical appointment that was probably about a half hour's walk away. I took a taxi taxi cost me $4. So it's and we can get anywhere we want taxi. There's buses and what they call colectivos, which are shared taxis.
Do they have Uber?
We have something called InDrive, which is like Uber. Ostensibly, Oaxaca has Uber, but I've never had success in calling a car using Uber.
Okay. And you don't own a car, do you?
No.
There's
Okay.
no need to.
That's what I like to hear. Place that you can go car free. Unlike the United States, that's so car centric that everywhere you go in the US, of course, you need a car pretty much, except for New York City and Chicago and San Francisco and the biggies. So it's very good to know. Everything is walkable, except I might have a little tough time on walking on cobblestones the whole way, but that's okay. All right. Do they have any transportation beyond walking? Is there, besides buses, is there any trams or trains to speak of?
No trams or trains. Buses, the colectivos, and taxis are the main transportation options besides walking.
And in and out of the city is the airport.
Okay. How far is the airport from where you guys are?
Oh,
Half an hour?
Half an hour by taxi.
Okay. Yeah. And the Oaxaca airport, it's a airport that connects you in different parts of Mexico, like Mexico City. And then from there, you can go anywhere.
Yeah, Oaxaca has lots of daily flights to Mexico City. It also has flights to Tijuana, Cancun, Guadalajara. Not many, but it's got one or two a day. And it's also got nonstop flights to Houston and Dallas.
Okay. A couple of places in the U.S. Not that you probably want to go there, but all right. So, and I remember the buses actually scared me when I was in Mexico City. There were these buses and they were packed with people, all the windows open. And I guess the locals are used to it. But as a tourist looking in there, I was like, I'm not getting in that bus.
Yeah. We moved here during COVID.
Okay.
And so we decided then not to take the bus and never have really gotten in the habit of it. We've taken it outside the city a lot, but within the city, we walk or take taxis.
Makes sense. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the cost of living. Housing. Can you give me an idea of what a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, long-term rental costs either in Centro versus the outside of Centro?
We're paying a little over $500 a month for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. And it has a washer and dryer and is well maintained, a great landlord. When we first came here, we were paying about twice that for a house that had a terrace around it and bigger rooms and sort of a very nice location. So I'd say between $500 and $1,000 is typical. You could pay more and get more luxurious places, but that's probably pretty typical.
That's really inexpensive. That's a good buy.
But we're considering another issue that people are dealing with are people coming in, buying a property, and then renting it out for high fees.
Like Airbnbs.
Airbnbs. And that's generated a little bit of resentment from the local population.
I can't blame them, really.
Yeah.
Right. So that's an issue that you might be sensitive to if you see a gringo go home message scrawled on a wall. It's not much, and there's never been any kind of action, people getting assaulted or anything like that. But it's here, and you can't escape that you're a gringo. They know.
Yeah, and you know what? That's happening a lot everywhere.
Right.
It's happening in Europe. It's happened in Portugal. It's happened in Spain. Wherever you go, because, with your visa, if you're allowed to, at certain times, they were allowed to purchase a golden visa, which allowed them to pay cash for, let's say, a house or a residence. And you don't even have to be in the country. You can be in the country a day, get a golden visa, buy a house, and rent it out as an Airbnb. And foreigners were doing that and pricing out the locals. So the locals, are up in arms. Okay, so we have the transportation, the cost of living. How about your utilities, your monthly utilities like electric, gas, cable, internet?
So electric and gas and water are included in our rent. So
for $500?
For $500.
Wow.
And they also provide internet, but it's shared between 4 apartments and is not fast for the work that I have to do. So we pay about $40 a month for internet in our apartment. In addition, we pay, I just paid our telephone bills, and together they were about $30 for the 2 of us.
For cell phone?
Cell phone, yeah.
$30 for 2. Wow, that's a bargain. So let's compare that to what we pay. And we pay $80 for 2 for our phone, which I think is a great plan because it's for seniors. What else do we pay for? Oh, internet. Our internet is $120 a month.
Mm-hmm.
So you get quite the deal in Oaxaca there.
With internet in the States, I don't know about your situation, Mark, but when we had internet in the States, it also included cable. We don't have cable included. I mean, we don't. So, but
yeah,
okay.
We don't either. It used to be that way. And when cable got so expensive, we dropped the cable portion and we just have the internet from the cable company. So it cost us still $120. It didn't start out that way, of course. When you start off, it's cheaper and then they reel you in.
Right.
And then they get you. And now it's 120 and it boosted up to something like, I don't know, like 150 until I called and said I'm leaving, and then they gave me 120 again. How about monthly grocery bills? You go to the market. How much do you think you spend on the market?
You do most of that.
Typically, when I go to the market, I get $70 worth of groceries, 50 to 70 groceries per week. I also go to the local markets. I remember going back to the States and seeing an avocado for like $3 or $4 a piece. And here they were like, $5 for $1.
$5 for $1.
So the costs are pretty low.
Yeah, $70. I figure we spend around $200 to $250, and then we go to Costco every 2 weeks and drop another $200-300 for Costco. So that's quite a difference too in savings.
Yeah, it depends on what you buy too, because in Mexico we're so close to the States, so we can get imported, let's say, cookies or fruit from the States. And those are going to be more expensive then, but we try to buy mostly Mexican.
Yeah. Why would you want fruit from the States anyway? Okay. And if you purchased a home there, like a condo or an apartment, do you have any rough idea how much a 2-bedroom, 2-bath would cost there?
I only know by seeing signs around the city. And I honestly don't know whether in most of these signs they are houses rather than condos. But the range is from $100,000 to $500,000, I'd say, depending on how big and how much yard. But I have a priced a condo.
Okay, perfect. All right, how do you guys eat out a lot or eat out at all? And what's a typical meal cost? If you go out to, now I don't know, do they have big meals during lunch or is it dinner?
Generally during lunch is the main meal.
Is the main meal is lunch?
Right.
And if you go to a nice, decent restaurant for your main meal at lunch, how much is it going to cost you?
If it ranges from at the most basic level, 80 or 100 pesos, so $4 or $5, to there's a place around the corner from us where we just both had lunch. We paid 350 pesos, so 15, $18 for the two of us for lunch.
That's like our dinner. So
Yeah.
we're talking like 3-course.
It was this was not 3 courses. This was a la carte.
Okay.
So like I had a big salad and Harvey had a big sandwich and we had drinks and things like that. What they call the comida corrida is the places where you go to, you may pay $5, $6, $7, and it's a 3-course meal, but it's everybody eats the same thing basically.
Yeah, it's a fixed price, fixed menu.
Yeah, fixed menu, fixed price. Still.
But Oaxaca is also sort of a eating paradise in some ways. You can go to Michelin star restaurants and spend $50 a person easily. Not a lot of those, but there are some.
So do you have a choice besides Mexican food of international cuisine? Like Indian or
Italian food is very popular here. There are a couple of Indian restaurants, Korean restaurants, Chinese restaurants. It's a pretty international menu.
And quite inexpensive too. I mean, even $18, and that's for the both of you.
That was for the both of us, yeah.
Forget it. Here we're talking now lunch, just a regular lunch with a salad. You can't probably get out without paying $60.
Wow,
for 2.
God. Yeah,
yeah. It's crazy. Prices here, they're out of control, and I don't know if it's ever going to get better. Usually, prices never go down.
Right?
Yes.
No.
Yeah, when we visit our son in Vermont, it's always a shock.
Yeah.
What you pay versus at home at Oaxaca.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, here in Phoenix too. In Phoenix, when we first moved here 7, 8 years ago, it was pretty reasonable, as far as prices, but everything has gone up since COVID, and it's out of control now. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about visas and residency. So what type of visas does Mexico have? What type of visas did you guys come over with? Is it a retirement visa? Is it a working visa?
Overall, we have a retirement visa, and you can choose between temporary or permanent. And the only difference is the amount of the threshold of income or resources that you have. And the numbers keep going up every year. There are, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4-year temporary visas, and then we have a permanent visa. A lot of people we know who might not qualify financially come in on what's basically a tourist card where they can stay for up to 6 months. And then they fly to Guatemala or they fly to San Diego or Houston and come back the next day and start the clock over again. That's becoming a little bit harder. They're not automatically giving 6 months, so you have to be really clear about that you're going to be there for 6 months and ask for it.
Okay, yeah. And a lot of places are not offering that. Leave a day, go to another nearby country and come back the next day and then start the clock again. Yeah. So a lot of countries are eliminating that. So Mexico still has that. That's good. So give us an idea of what type you're a permanent resident, right? Okay. Do you have any idea how much it costs now for a temporary visa?
I How much it costs to get the visa, or what does your income level have to be?
What's your income level?
Mark, I don't know. We never applied
Okay.
for temporary.
Okay.
And when we got our permanent visa, it was 5 years ago, and the thresholds have increased steadily.
Do you know what it is now for permanent?
I think it's something like $4,000 a month of income coming in now for permanent, but I'm really not sure.
I think that's what I've heard as well. It was in the 4,000s, and every year it goes up.
Yeah.
So that sounds about right. And 4,000 that's kind of substantial for somebody that's just on a fixed income.
Yeah, and just comparing it with Ecuador, when we were down there, we had a friend who had been an actor and didn't have a lot of Social Security, had $800 or $900 of Social Security a month, and he got his permanent visa in Ecuador.
Right.
So
yeah, and it's not happening in Mexico. So you have to have some sort of income or savings. I think they go by savings as well.
Yes, I think it's either a guaranteed income or investments and savings.
Yeah. Okay, makes sense. All right. And is the paperwork, so you went on a retirement visa, did it take a lot of paperwork, and how difficult was it to get?
Well, nothing compared to Ecuador. It was very easy. We didn't even have to have things, what they call apostilled.
Apostle, yeah.
And so we went in with statements of our investments and our letters that the Social Security Administration produces saying how much money you get. I think we may have had to, no, I don't even remember getting a police report. We had to do it for Ecuador. We dropped it off at 9 a.m. we were living in Ecuador then, the Mexican embassy in Quito. And he said, come back at 4. We came and picked it up, and he said, welcome to Mexico. And we came in as a couple.
Wow.
As a gay couple.
Awesome. So that was quick and easy. So I guess it was quicker because you were in Ecuador.
I've heard that have to wait a long time in the States
in the States, yeah. Yeah. I know it is a long time for Europe as well, but Mexico is very popular, so I'm sure there's a backlog as well.
Yes.
Okay. How about your health care? That's very important. As we grow older, we tend to use more health care than we did when we were kids. So I myself is proof. So just explain the healthcare system as far as the public system versus the private. What do you belong to? Do you pay out of pocket? Do you have insurance?
So there is a public system. For a foreigner to become a member of that public system, they have to pay a certain amount every year. But I think it's less than $500 a year to join the system, something like that. Depending on your age and in Oaxaca, the public hospitals are overrun. There are horror stories about people waiting in the hallways to get operations or getting attended to, frankly. So we chose to go privately. And at our age, we couldn't get reasonably priced insurance. So we just pay out of pocket. We belong to a group that meets every 2 weeks of sort of aging gay men. And we're putting together a list of doctors for that people have gone to and their recommendations, their experience.
It's important.
Yeah. Harvey and I, in our 4 years here, have been to about 15 different medical professionals. Typical cost, depending on their qualifications and their specialty, for an appointment is anywhere from $25 to $50. And the difference is, you go in to see a doctor and they give you as much time as you need There's no rush to go there. If you need to spend an hour in there, you spend an hour in there. If you need to spend 15 minutes, you spend 15 minutes. But they'll take the time that it takes.
Just like here. Just a story today. I had an appointment to visit with a cardiologist. And after they took my blood work, and my blood pressure is always up in the cardiologist's office because I have white coat syndrome. And they do, and then in comes an assistant. And he's takes out his little computer, asking me questions. I've never seen him before. And yeah, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, where's the doctor? Because the doctor thought he would like just get away with it because it was just like a checkup, you know? And I was like, no, after you, I'd like to speak to the doctor because I've always spoken to my cardiologist on every visit since I'm going. Mm-hmm. And he's never like had an assistant just take care of me. So yeah, I had to wait, but I waited for him. Yeah. Even if it was saying hello and what's going on and, you know, just for that fact. But they're like rush, 10 minutes, you're in and out. Just a vast difference between Mexico.
I find the cost is about 10%. You convert from, Mexico to the U.S., you just add another zero at the end. Jesus, yeah. Prices, medications.
Yeah, medications are very inexpensive compared to the U.S.
Yeah, and it's probably less than a copay.
It is. I mean, I got my, I go every Monday because we get a 25% discount at the local pharmacy. Our cholesterol medicine is about $5 a month. And, we have some specialties, like with my back, there's a special medication I have to take, which helps scar the fractured ribs as they grow back, or I get from the Spanish. That's about $60 a month, which is very expensive for medication here.
Right. But not that expensive compared to here. No. Yeah. So yeah, I also take a medication for triglycerides, which keep my triglycerides low. And it's like a big fish oil pill. And I know that is like $90. Well, $90 for 3 months. So okay. I get 3 months at a time. So $30. It's expensive for that. And without insurance, it would be probably over $1,000.
Yeah.
So, okay. And go ahead.
The one thing about the medical system, the payment is a little bit different. I mean, they expect you to pay as you're leaving, as you're walking out of the hospital. So occasionally, so you need to have a little bit of cash on hand in case for emergencies.
If you're hospitalized, yeah.
If you're hospitalized.
Right. They don't have credit cards or?
Some do, but many don't. But yeah. Wow. And the other thing is that typically, and I found this in many places where I've lived, there's no call button in the room. You have a friend or family member staying with you, and they go out and get the nurse if you need one.
That's different.
It is.
That's a little different. I'd be yelling because who's going to stay with you out, during the night? And if you need something.
Yeah, I mean, they have these big lounge chairs that people can sleep in. So.
That's if you have somebody that could stay with you. Usually in Mexico, I know they're very family oriented. So
exactly,
their family does. Okay. Are there English speaking doctors?
There are some.
Yeah.
And both of you speak Spanish, fluent Spanish?
David's fluent in Spanish. I'm still learning. I have an individual tutor I see twice a week.
Okay.
It seems like medical vocabulary and stuff comes more easily than...
Right. You can clutch your chest if you have a chest pain.
Right. You can point and...
yeah.
So
and Google Translate too.
Right. And, the words are cognate, so...
Cholesterol is cholesterol.
There you go. That's yeah, good for me. And that's funny. For my upcoming Spain trip, we both bought earbuds that actually do the translating.
Oh, I've heard of.
So the person would talk into your phone and it would come out in English on my end,
Pretty
and
amazing.
I would talk and it would write on my phone in Spanish.
I love it. That's
Wow.
great.
So I'm looking forward to seeing if that'll work
Yeah.
properly.
Good luck, Mark. Sounds great.
Yeah.
To go back to your question, I mean, there are a lot of English-speaking doctors, although if you want a very specialized kind of doctor, like um, there are in Mexico City, you can do video calls to doctors there. We've done that a few times. I have epilepsy, and I have a doctor that I do video calls with, or I fly up to Mexico City to see.
Okay.
Right.
That
There's a lot of
that
use of
works.
technology and, and Zoom
Oh yeah.
and discussions, and it's good.
Yeah, that works. That definitely works. Let's talk a little bit about taxes. How is that? How do you do taxes, or how are you taxed? I know in the US, one of the only countries that you always have to file a tax return at the end of the year. Can you explain to the audience in Mexico, do you file your Mexican taxes first and then your US taxes, or vice versa?
Well, according to Mexico law, we are only liable for income that is earned in Mexico. So we basically don't have to file any taxes in Mexico. And we went into the tax authority office and confirmed that, because we're not earning money down here. We're living on investments in Social Security, which come out of the States. So we do
That's
pay
interesting.
taxes in the States, but we don't pay any taxes here in Mexico other than sales tax.
That's really interesting because in other parts of the world, in parts of the different countries, even though you're a resident of that country, you still have to file taxes because you have to report your worldwide assets. So if you have money in an IRA, 401k at home in the US, you have to report that. And whatever you use as income is on your income tax. And then you file your US taxes after you file your other country taxes that you're living in, your resident taxes. And since there's usually a tax treaty, you don't wind up owing the US anything because you're paying more. Let's say in Spain, you're paying much more tax than you would have in the US, so you get tax credits to the US. So it's a little bit different and a little bit more affordable in Mexico. That's good. So do you know if there's any inheritance tax or wealth tax in Mexico?
I don't know. We just went and got our wills done, but we don't have a lot of uh, possessions
Mhm.
down here, and so no, I don't know.
How about banking? Do you have a Mexican bank account?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Was
we
was
actually
it
have two
difficult?
accounts. When we first got down here, the easiest thing to do was to open what's called a fintech account, which is not no brick and mortar branches, all
Right.
done on the internet.
Likewise.
Yeah, and it was very easy, but it was restricted in some places, which it was hard to get transfers into the account and things like that. So I went and opened a regular bank, brick and mortar bank account with Santander Bank here. Took a bit of paperwork, and it was maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours process to open the account. But as a permanent resident, I could do it, and it makes life a little bit easier.
And do you get your Social Security income, pension income deposited in the States and then you transfer it, or do you get it directly into your Santander?
deposit it in the States.
Okay.
And then we transfer it.
And then you
Transfer takes 5 minutes.
Okay. And you transfer it directly with your Santander bank?
Yeah, I transfer it. I use Zoom, which is related to PayPal, and they transfer directly into my bank account at Santander.
Okay. Sounds good. And you pay the difference in foreign exchange fees, right? Currency exchange?
Yeah, they say that they make money on the currency exchange rate that they give you.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have Wise? Do you use Wise at all?
We don't use Wise because our little rural savings and loan in Vermont doesn't use Wise.
Oh, gotcha.
But a lot of people down here use Wise.
Okay. I thought any bank could use Wise as long as, because you have to get Wise as a separate entity. You just need to give them your routing number and account number from your bank, and then they take it out of your bank, transfer over to Wise, and do the conversion. So
we tried it about 3 or 4 years ago. And at that point, they said, your bank is not a partner. We can't use them.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't tried it since then.
Okay. All right. Let's talk a little bit about crime and safety. What's the situation? I know it's kind of hit and miss in different parts of Mexico. People say that, well, it's still safer than anywhere in the United States. But Oaxaca, for instance, how safe is it walking in the streets? Do you feel safe at all times?
You want to take that?
Yeah, I think we generally feel safe in the early to mid evening. Obviously from the beginning of the day. So I wouldn't be going like 4 a.m. or something like that. Or if I needed to transport, I would get a taxi. But I generally feel safe on the streets.
Is there any, they don't allow guns, right? Except for, I guess, whatever cartel action there is. But generally speaking, you don't have any gun issues.
I've never seen, the only guns we see are the guards at the police and the guards at the banks.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So as far as break-ins and petty theft, is there a lot of that, or
pickpocketing more than anything? I don't think I've ever heard of a break-in, but if you go to these huge public markets, you better know where
watch your pocket.
Watch your pocket.
Right.
Got it. Okay. All right. How about the community culture, arts and culture? Are there any arts and culture like museums and theater? Is there anything that Oaxaca offers?
You're a culture guy.
I'm a culture guy. Yeah. First of all, there's a lot of art, and especially in all sorts of weaving crafts and things like that, rugs, clothing. As I said, there are these little statues that are going for high price in the U.S.
Do they have movies, theater?
They have a few movies and malls outside of the city, so you can get to a movie theater. They don't seem to have much in the way of like live theater.
But there's a lot of concerts.
There's a lot of concerts, a lot of music, bars with, guitar players and folks, singing Mexican songs and
lots of museums.
And lots of music. Lots of small museums.
Got it.
It's nice.
Art galleries?
Art galleries, yes. There's a lot of art galleries.
All over the place, yeah.
And speaking of community, is there any type of LGBTQ community? You said you have a gay meeting.
We do. We have a group that gets together every 2 weeks. It's mostly gringos, although there's 1 or 2 Mexicans in it. And there's a gay pride parade every year. The people who parade are generally fairly young, most of them. There are a few bars, again, mostly fairly young people in those. In Oaxaca State, there is a very famous what's called Mushe community, which is a transgender community. A rural part of the state is most famous for them, but they participate in all the dance exhibitions and things like this. So those are the sort of most visible pieces of the LGBTQ community.
Another thing is the Oaxaca Lending Library, which is a bilingual library that was organized and maintained by volunteers. It's coming up to its 60th anniversary.
Wow.
It tends to attract a lot of gay men and their board and the various volunteer activities. They hold all sorts of events, lectures. I'm giving a talk. The end of this week, the Metropolitan Opera comes, and I give a little synopsis in English to the people who don't know the synopsis, and that's it. I've done that for about 5 years now.
Oh, great.
So there's a community. It's the other half of the community. Half of it is mainly young people, and the bar crowd tends to be concentrated with the young people. And then us
seniors, our old farts, we go to bed at 9:30 anyway, so.
We're maintaining this library and talks and things. So there's that to be considered. There's obviously a gay scene in Mexico, Mexico City. There are some beautiful beaches outside of Oaxaca, including one nude beach. It's the only nude beach in Mexico, but it's quite popular. I feel very comfortable sort of being a gay man here. I've got plenty to do in terms of meeting people and getting involved in things.
And nobody really cares, right?
No.
It traditionally is a fairly conservative city, but
Right.
Nobody really cares. We'll hold hands as we're walking down the street. Nobody's ever said anything to us.
Good. That's the way it should be.
There may be a little conservative about dress here. If you wear, short shorts or nothing at all, and I've seen people walking naked down the street. That's generally frowned upon, but not discussed or anything.
Right. Got it. Okay. So for a newly arrived couple, what would you think it would cost on a monthly basis just to live, with housing in Oaxaca?
I would guess, I have heard estimates as low as $1,500 a month. We probably spend $1,000 more than that, $2,500 maybe. Depends on medical costs and other things that may pop up, vacations, things like that. But just in terms of living, $2,000 to $2,500.
That's pretty good as compared to here.
Yeah.
Because I know that, there's a lot of expenses that we go through a month, and it's at least double that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, one expense I had mentioned is travel in and out of Mexico to the States. I mean, for family stuff.
It got expensive.
Yeah, typically I think airfare is like $600 to $1,000.
Yeah, no one wants to fly to the U.S. anymore
right now.
Yeah, so for a first timer, would you recommend Centro versus just outside of Centro for the first year at least?
I would certainly recommend Centro or near Centro. There's a neighborhood called Reforma, which is about 15 minutes north of Centro. Uh-huh. There's another neighborhood called Xochimilco, which is just outside of Centro. And there's a neighborhood south. I'd say within half an hour of Centro. Walking distance would be a really good idea.
Okay. Sounds reasonable. Would you recommend leaving the car or selling the car if you're coming over here and don't bring your car?
I People do bring their cars, and people who live further out from the city use cars, have cars often. For us, it's not been necessary. I mean, the other question that people always ask is what else to bring? Should I bring sheets or my NutriBullet or whatever?
Right.
We're pretty close to the US. We can get anything we want here.
Yeah, and you still have Amazon, Mexico, and
Do you have Costco?
We have
Costco.
Costco. Not in Oaxaca, but we can order from Costco. There's one in Puebla, which is about a
Okay.
month away.
Okay. At least you have that.
Yep,
And how far is Puebla?
about 4 hours.
4 hours. So yeah, I would order.
Yeah, I mean, we moved here from Vermont, so we order maple syrup from Costco.
There you go.
And when they deliver it a day or two later.
If there was one thing that you could do over, what would you change and what did it teach you?
You have an answer to that?
Thought of an answer yet.
I mean, we can be kind of impulsive. And so what we did was for the first 3 months, we stayed in an Airbnb without looking at it. That was really kind of a dump. I would come down for a week or two. I would do an Airbnb for a week or two, that kind of thing without looking at it. But then I'd start looking for a longer term place to live. Mexico is a very easy place to live in. I would check out neighborhoods. I would walk around neighborhoods more. We used a real estate agent that we were referred to for our first sort of semi-permanent place to live. And we were lucky. We found a place that we really liked, but we've heard some horror stories of people that moved into places where terrible landlords and difficult experiences. So anyway, that's what comes to mind for me. I mean, that's the most important place. Most important thing probably is where you live and make sure you have something comfortable.
When we moved down here, we wanted to sell everything. And so we said, we're just going to limit ourselves to 4 large suitcases. Well, we were able to do that. And I feel that in the long run, that was enough. You can buy whatever you
Right.
need. I was crazy about being able to buy underwear and socks and sort of there's a Walmart, and they sell American underwear, there wasn't anything to worry about. You can pretty much get what you need here. And so, yeah, I mean,
Okay.
anything we occasionally have been saying lately, it's sort of got all this stuff, we don't need it all.
The other thing, and I think we did it well. It's not that I would necessarily change, but get involved in something here pretty quickly to get to meet people. I'm very involved in Democrats Abroad, so I help people vote, and it's a full-time job pretty much for me. And it introduced us to a circle of like-minded people that was really wonderful.
There's a restaurant that does a breakfast every Wednesday morning. Typically attracts 10, 15 people.
Gay men.
And particularly it's a good sort of launching place because you can make connections with people there.
Yeah, I say it's all about community. That's very, very important to when you go to any place. Any new place. It could be within, the United States. It might be a different state. You still need community, and to build community is so very important.
Yes.
So,
one of the nice things about Oaxaca is it is genuinely friendly. I mean, it sort of surprised me that people, say hello on the street, buenos dias. They say provecho, which is like bon appetit just in a restaurant.
Complete strangers.
Complete strangers. And so you need to be a little sensitive to that and not insult them. But
yeah, here in the States, you would say, "Oh, I don't know that person." You know,
right,
it's kind of a little weird. What's
Yeah.
that person being so nice?
right. So we have enjoyed it here. Anything I would change, our son lives in the States, and that's creates tension because we're 5,000 miles away. And one time he had a car accident, and I needed to quickly get up to Vermont from Oaxaca. And so
To schlep.
we haven't solved that problem, of what to do, because he wants to stay in the States. I mean, that's where he finds work, and he still has friends.
Yep, of course. Do you have any intentions of ever going back?
No.
If I could have, no.
What we learned, though, is in both Brazil and Ecuador, for a variety of reasons, we ended up deciding to leave and leaving fairly quickly. So for us, it's no place is guaranteed permanent.
Mhm. Yeah,
That
I
a
get
reason
it.
we'll buy down here, for example, buy a house and
I get it. You know, when we moved to Phoenix 8 years ago, I said, we're going to be here for the rest of our life. And here we are looking for another place, probably in Colorado. Who knows where we'll wind up. But the place goes back on the market.
all right. We'll check
So-
out what
You're not. I mean, a number of people also still have a place in the States and a place in
in the
Oaxaca,
snowbird.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Is there any final words of wisdom that you want to give to the audience?
Come try us out. Come down here for a week, a month. I mean, that'll sort of give you the best indication of, do I feel comfortable here?
Right.
Do I feel comfortable on the streets and in the markets? I mean, there's a lot of adjustment. You've got to learn some Spanish.
Oh, yeah.
Be able to deal with,
Bureaucracy.
and banks and everything. Yeah, there's bureaucracy too
Yeah, it's not
as
easy.
well. So it takes a while to adapt to a whole new culture and another language, but we find it very rewarding, and we're very happy here.
No, and I would say, I mean, because of my work with Democrats abroad and other things, I've traveled a lot around Mexico to places where there are a lot of U.S. citizens. Oaxaca is by far my favorite place. Other places draw lots of U.S. citizens, and they're worth checking out. Ajijic in Puerto Vallarta and San Miguel in Guadalajara and Mexico City and Mérida in the Yucatan all draw lots of American citizens.
They sure
But
do.
this one fits us best.
That's what matters. So, congratulations.
I mean, like Ajijic and places like Puerto
Vallarta.
Vallarta use a lot more English.
Right.
People speak a lot more English than they do here. So using Spanish is more important.
Yes.
And again, it's sort of like people they don't check your grammar, when you try to speak to them.
Right.
Just
I'm sure they'll help you too.
Make the effort, and they're like halfway there
Right.
with you, and they're happy that you don't treat them like,
Right.
Mexicans typically have been treated in the past.
Exactly. All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for coming to the podcast. It was very educational. I'm sure our audience learned a lot, and we'll see you on the next one. All right. We'll keep in touch.
All right. It's our pleasure. Take care, Mark.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Where Do Gays Retire podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to our podcast and consider making a donation by clicking the coffee cup on any page at www.wheredogaysretire.com. Each cup of coffee that you buy costs $5 and goes towards helping us continue the podcast. Thank you for your continued support.